Now, before the break, we saw Newcastle very much at the wrong end of the table. 13th place in the Premier League, 8 above the relegation zone. It has been, though, a busy week behind the scenes as we welcome in Craig Burley and Shaka Hislop. I want to start with you, Shaka, of course, as a former Newcastle United player. A lot of talk about the possibility of this Saudi Arabian consortium coming in to take over from Mike Ashley. Your initial thoughts?
It's exciting, but the trouble is we've been here with Mike Ashley before. I'll believe it once it's finally done and dusted. Seeing that this Saudi Arabian consortium certainly seemed to have the money to buy Mike Ashley out at the price that he's been looking for quite some time. So it's an exciting prospect because I don't think Newcastle were going anywhere under Ashley's stewardship.
And obviously, Craig, financial fair play will tie their hands a little bit, but we understand these have got a similar sort of money as the owners of Manchester City. It's all about, I suppose, getting some excitement, some more support around the Magpies that the local fans deserve.
Well, as you say, Shaq knows all about the atmosphere. I mean, obviously, I've played there a lot of times, but not as much as Shaq. Look, you know, people in all towns usually love their clubs, and Newcastle fans are no different. But you know, I think they're pretty fed up, like a lot of teams. They've seen their team either been in the Championship or struggling down near the bottom of the Premier League, which is where they've been for quite some time. Look, Mike Ashley runs his ship accordingly, whether you agree or not. It's his business. But if they can have something to look forward to, and particularly these tough times, then you know, that can only be a good thing. I know there's been a lot of talk about where the money's coming from, but why should everybody be the moral paratrooper right now? Football crossed that boundary a long time ago. When you see the ownership of football clubs around the world, and particularly around Europe, there is no moral fibre in general to who owns the club. It's who's got the most money. And I think Newcastle United fans won't really give a jot where their ownership comes from.
Shaka, how much of a sleeping giant is Newcastle?
It's massively a sleeping giant. I think Newcastle. One thing about Newcastle United that I don't think many other, if any other clubs in the Premier League can boast about is the atmosphere within St James's Park. We can be critical of what's happening at City and the atmosphere at Old Trafford, and question whether Newcastle as a venue has the same attraction as London. But the one thing from a playing perspective, once you cross that white line, there's no better place to play a football, and I think that ultimately would stand Newcastle in as good stead as any.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.